It's time once again for another episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Being brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now, here's your host for today's episode.
Well, it is morning. It is a beautiful day in Buckhead. We are looking for a little bit of rain this afternoon, but right now it is going to be a great,
Who's
great,
looking
great
for
morning.
rain?
I'm always looking for rain. We need just a little more. I planted my first tomato seed yesterday, and what is this?
Just
February?
one seed?
Just February. Well,
That's an ambitious dude.
I didn't want to overcommit. You know, urban gardening. Those people in sustainability said the only way to solve the food problem is urban garden. So I'm participating. How about you?
I'm going to lose it over. I planted one seed or whatever that is.
Well, you plant one seed, you nurture it, and if you're lucky, it's going to grow up to be exactly what you think it is.
Absolutely, well said.
Well, we'll just work on that. So I'll plant another one tomorrow, though, because I want to have a continual flow of tomatoes.
Don't overdo it, Mr. Michael Moore. Yeah.
Well, you know, suddenly you have too many tomatoes, and you have to rely on your neighbors to help you out. So we won't worry about that. But anyway, Rich Casanova is always causing trouble in the room. We've got three great guests for you today. We got the magical, mystical recruiting fellow who trains people to be very successful what they do. We got the magical CPA who will get your taxes in order and keep your business growing. We'll introduce everybody individually. And we got Josh, the man of AdWords, and we'll get to him. And so we'll kind of roll through the story this morning. We'll remind you we're sponsored by the Buckhead Business Association, co-hosted by Michael Moore and Rich Casanova. And we're right here in the Pro Business Channels overlooking the $1 billion view, getting ready for just a fabulous day of information coming to you.
Did you say Cashanova?
Cashanova.
I like
are
that.
Are you moving up?
$1 billion. I'm going to buy one of those $1 billion. Watch out.
So you're going to have real value now instead of just being a Casanova. Huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, well, good. We've got
we better get underway. We do have some guests here,
we've kind of burned enough airtime this morning, bright and early here. Well, we've got Uday Gumpa of Concept Software and Services. Boy, he's an influential C-level leader. Got more than 26 years of achievement of fueling high-level operations in multi-industry environments. Wow, $400 million in revenue currently, 8 international locations. You personally have lived in 7 countries and conducting business in 6 languages. Please hold on to English today for me, if you don't mind. Right. And you've worked on 4 continents. Woo. Driving down costs, driving up performance, driving up revenues, optimizing systems availability, and leading a staff. Well, that pretty much is a wrap. Anything else?
Speaking of revenue, did you mention $400 million in revenue?
Yeah. That's an annual.
That's a lot of tomato seeds.
That's a lot of tomatoes. you could buy some.
That's our theme for today, by the way, if you're tuning in.
Okay, so the leading question is: we know you're a great guy, and you're on our station today, and you're here in Buckhead. But what does Concept Software and Services Inc. really do?
Good morning. This is Uday Gupte with Concept Software and Services. Concept Software has been in business for 18 plus years. We are headquartered here in Alpharetta, Georgia. And we started initially with consulting, then moved on to custom software development, and now we are pushing big time into training, where we train consultants in different technologies, and slowly moving on to STEM education also.
Well, I noticed on your website that you kind of go through a vetting process to make sure you get the right people into the pipeline so that you can obviously wind up with a product that's very marketable and wind up with a product that shows your image to the marketplace. So talk a little bit about the experiences and why you changed your business model, I guess.
Because we've seen, over the years that whenever the clients are looking for, resources, they are not able to find. And in the end, the result is we need to get the people from outside. So we have a big pool of resources that are available here. But the reason is if they are not properly trained, the market doesn't, require them. Mm-hmm. Like if you're only knowing one particular thing, obviously the client is going to say, I need 5 things. Now, how does that guy need 5 things?
Which 5? Which 5 is what they...
So say, for example, if you're looking for Java technology, if you just come out from the college and say, I know Java itself doesn't give you anything. For that, you may have to know web services. You may have to know jQuery, JSON. There are a lot of other languages that are there, which makes it as a package. And that is what the client is looking for.
So you're actually helping people to understand what their focus needs to be in terms of placing a person, but you're also ensuring, as you said, the whole person so that you've got a broad base of information and allows a customer or client of your client to drill down and get a person who's more well-rounded for their particular application. I know that You may want to respond to that, but how in the world do you evaluate a potential student or client?
If you have going to evaluate a student, we do give them aptitude test to see where they stand. Also, if they are going to come for a Java test, for a Java training, we will always see what are the basic Java that they know. Then we'll give them a very basic Java test to see where they stand, and depending on that, how much they get, we will basically get them into the class and see how they proceed. So each and every class also has different tests depending on the topics to see how they fare.
Sure. Well, let's talk about that recruiting process a little bit. I assume you're recruiting off all 4 continents as well, right?
No, at that time, it was a different thing. I was on the other side. So I used to, do the development administration. So I was hands-on. And then here, moved more onto the management angle.
So you're focused here in Atlanta for your home office, and you recruit, you recruit and place globally, I'm sure?
Oh, yes. Here we do. We have clients where we do, recruit people right from the web technologies to infrastructure to the database administration. And depending on how the client's needs are, we have a couple of clients with whom we have, tied up, and we will do, training based on what their needs are. So our classes are also customized so that they get exactly what they're looking for.
Well, you're ensured a much higher success rate because of your testing and process. I know in the computer training industry and the placement industry, many times, as you said, the client specifications aren't as complete as what they really think they need. So you've done a great job, I guess, of vetting. Your account management process has got to be better than most because you're surviving quite well in this marketplace. So talk a little bit about your employees and the things that make you really different.
Our employees are from different areas. We will hire more U.S. citizens, but we also do have employees who are on visas. They are also
certainly
here, but the more focus is now to recruit American citizens, and also now we are getting associated more with veterans, where we do train them and try to place them back into the workforce.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about that. We do a couple of things here in Buckhead every year focused on veterans, so I want to follow up with you after the show to talk about recruiting some veterans and looking at what you're really seeking out. Well, your account management is probably a very responsible as well as important role for you because that's where the relationships with the accounts are. I was looking at your account list. You've got some pretty impressive logos on there. So talk about some of your key wins lately and what's really going on, what you're seeing happening in the marketplace with larger as well as smaller clients for your company.
Recently we did, win the account with, Turner. Then we also are, big time with Technicolor, which is a part of, Cisco. Then we are also with, Macy's, with SSFCU. These are like all the companies which will, hire on a big time level, plus the technologies which these companies are, looking for are obviously on the web development as well as on the infrastructure. Currently, we are also working with a big-time TCS, as you know, the Tata Consultancy Services, which is the number one Indian, outsourcing company. And we do work with them with CVS on a big-time level.
Well, for those folks out there listening, maybe from the larger companies as well as the smaller companies and the ones who want to emulate more success, give me those 1 or 2 things which you really, as a leader in the company, look for in your clients to make them duplicatable, the things you'd like to have in your next largest client.
What I want to, say here is the small companies or the big companies, if they have the needs where they are unable to find the consultants that they're looking for, we can always, come over, talk with them, see what their needs is, and, try to design a program because we have the training going on the year around, and we definitely have, consultants who are, looking for proper jobs. We can train them according to their needs, and they can, fulfill all their vacancies, with concept software. It's just that, they need to give us a chance. I have seen a lot of the time the big companies would never, say that, okay, if you are not a vendor to that company, it's very hard to approach them. Whereas all we need is the consultants who are coming for training, they get a job. I mean, we are not really interested in becoming vendors with that company. We just want them to, give them a chance.
Well, you're doing what a combination, I guess, of what our IT training over the years before when you learned, as you said earlier, when you learn your IT or you learn your programming skills in a sterile environment in a high school or a college or a trade school or even a specialized software school, you don't really wind up with what the end user client needs. So that story about I want what I want when I want it, you know, you'll get what I give you when I can get it to you, really becomes so important, because you've got to go through a tremendous vetting process to pick for you a profitable client. And in case of what you're doing, I have to applaud you on building the product before it's delivered.
Right, because the technology also changes every often. I mean, every 3 months you will see something new coming up. So by the time you learn to the time you master it, there is always something new that is coming up, and it's always going to be a learning curve. Whoever comes into the IT industry.
Well, you're doing a great setup for our third guest this morning, because we're going to be talking about the changes in the web industry, the changes in AdWords, the changes in advertising, and it's really important to stay very current. I guess you guys have really made a conscientious effort to do things differently from your competitors. So again, I want to applaud you for that process. And wrapping up, I know they can find you online, people who need to be new clients of yours, new trainees, new students of yours. How do they locate you on the web?
They can go to www.concept-inc.com.
Okay. And what about your? You want to share your personal email with them, so they can find you?
Yeah, I mean, they can email me at Uday. That's U D as in Delta A Y at concept CONCEP as in Peter T as in Tom -inc.com.
And now you're located out in.
We are located in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Just slightly.
Very, very close to the North Point Mall.
Okay. That's slightly north of Buckhead, but not too far.
Is that on one of the four continents?
Yeah, that's on one of the four. We call that OTP. That's one of the, a map of the world from our angle is entirely different from one of those guys from Alpharetta.
Absolutely. You're listening to the Buckhead Business Show, being brought to you in part by the Buckhead Business Association. You can check them out at buckheadbusiness.org with your engineer, producer, Rich Casanova, and Michael Moore. Who do you have up next?
Well, next we've got that process. We joked a little bit earlier about your taxes. Okay, it's sometime after the first year and before April 15th, and I feel a tax headache coming on. But we've got Peter Fullerton in the room today. Peter is one of those CPAs who helps people stay on game,
right.
On game and on time, and extensions are available, right? So for people like me, it's just a perpetual thing. What's that about? 3487, 3872. There's some 4-digit form I need to be working on right now, I'm sure.
We'll look it up for you before the end of the show.
That's good.
We'll get our fact checkers on that or whatever. Yeah.
Accountants need the information. So Peter's joining us in studio this morning, and before we get too far in the process, he shared with me earlier he was a Buckhead Business Association member years ago. We'll get to that story in a while as we recruit him to be a new member. So, Peter, tell us, why on earth are you an accountant?
I'm still trying to figure that out, but no, one of these days I will. But I joke about that a lot of times because
we'll continue to joke about that your whole session.
I throughout my entire career, I always get that. I always thought it was a slam at first. I always said people would say to me, "You're not your typical CPA," and I didn't quite understand that.
That is
a
compliment, right?
But now I've come to take it as a compliment. But there are a lot of CPAs out there that are not people, extroverts, and I'm a very much of an extrovert, and I enjoy talking to business owners and people about what they do and learning. That's the exciting thing. If I talk about just tax, and to me tax, it's boring. Accounting, it's boring. But when I'm learning about what a business owner does and how to help them solve a problem, that's the real exciting thing that I do.
Well, no, that's not a new concept. It's been going on for quite a while, right?
Right.
No, it hasn't in the marketplace.
No, but I always joke to somebody. I was at the pool about a couple years ago at my subdivision, and I'm sitting there, and one of the neighbors comes up to me and he says, "Hey, what do you do after April 15th?" and I almost blinked and I looked at him and I said, some people they truly think that's what CPAs do. They think we have the model like H&R Block. We're just going to shut our doors and after April 15th. But
that's why you had time to be at the pool.
But right, exactly. But what I really do is. I tell people, I do help people on the individual level with filing tax returns and planning and things. But what I focus a lot on is helping business owners. I work with some small businesses up to multi-million-dollar businesses, and off season, what I do is that I'm getting pulled more into it, and that's really what I'm talking about today is getting pulled into this cloud computing concept, and it's such a confusing concept to a lot of small business owners because they hear about it and they don't understand exactly what their business needs to be doing so they don't get left behind. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I've been doing, has been educating people, educating clients, educating anyone who listen to me. In fact,
well,
but trying to tell them what this is and who are the players and sort of what they need to do to sort of get it.
Well, let's go focus on that for just a minute. I mean, the organizations in the city, whoever they are, trying to help small business owners and medium business owners, and even some CFOs who go, yeah, I'm going to look at cloud computing soon. They don't realize they're already looking at cloud computing. When you think that any device you have in that, quote, Internet of Things, even your refrigerator, can tell you it's time to buy milk, it becomes very important to integrate your business into the process. So, years ago we had that one computer sitting on the desk which had all of our secret stuff in it, and we hoped our bookkeeper was doing it right. And then at the end of the year, our CPA said, guess what? They weren't. So you're really helping alleviate those type of issues as a new business starts up. It's very critical, as you said, to position yourself. Right. So talk a little bit about the quote startup of a business and the things people need to look at in the cloud.
Well, you look at the way the whole business model has changed. I mean, I would say how I started this was back when I was worked for a smaller firm here in Buckhead, and the principal at my office, whenever there was a technology issue at a client's office, he would just say, "Hey, go out there." And I had no idea what software they were using. I had no idea what hardware, and I'd just get thrown into the fire. Sure. So that's sort of I've always been very technical, and but really, if you think about what most businesses had, is they had a server and they had someone come in and they wired it all up, and then they had all these PCs.
Oh man, this already sounds like a nightmare. Wake me up, get me back to the cloud.
And then what happened was every 3 to 5 years they had let's replace that server, and let's
another year of pain.
All these people's machines, everyone's configured it differently. We've got different issues, and so that's really what's happened is what we're doing it now is we're taking that server out of these small businesses and we're putting it into the cloud, and that's what these companies are able to offer now. They're able to offer a way we don't have to come out of pocket thousands of dollars for a new server, for new licenses, and what we're able to do is, even a small startup company, they could come out and say to somebody today, and they should say, hey, I need a new server and I need 10 workstations. They could have that up running in minutes, versus weeks or months.
Just pull out their own personal credit card, and log on to Microsoft or whomever, and boom, they've got a cloud.
So that's one of the things.
So what are some of the stop gaps, and what are some of the dangers, and how could somebody make a mistake today by going to the cloud?
Well, I talk to people. They still have some concerns, with the security, and they have concerns about people accessing their information, and so that's one of the things I talk to people about, and I say, hey, a lot of the times when you look at problems companies have, a lot of times it ends up being internal, and their server's no more safe sitting in their office than it is in the cloud, necessarily. So in the cloud, more companies are realizing, nothing's 100% safe. To begin with, nothing's going to be 100%
okay,
safe.
I'll agree with that.
But what they're realizing is by putting it in the cloud, there is 24/7 security. There is someone watching it. It's not physically. There are some problems with having it physically in house.
Well, the first one being backup in whose glove box you keep the backup file.
You wouldn't. So many times I have people say, "Oh, my server crashed and we're rebuilding." we're having to go back.
Restore
that's another thing. But one thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people, they don't understand really who these key players are in the cloud. When people, I'll
okay.
ask
Now, is
people,
this a paid commercial you're
no,
fixing to do? Okay.
not at all. I'm not getting paid by any of these. But a lot of times people are confused about like who's behind these technologies. You don't have to hire all these tech people.
Right.
We're gonna lay the foundation for your business to grow.
And we're going to grow it, and we're going to grow it with you,
Right.
and be part of that, and do whatever you need to do.
Right.
Well, give me a couple minutes here on your most successful current implementation that you want to share with us.
I guess what I'm really doing with right now is probably from now, not probably, but from now until April. It's April 18th this year. For those who don't know, they've extended it. It's April 18th. Most of my focus is on tax,
Sure.
and I'll be putting out fires. So there'll be sometimes, but outside that, when I help people, a lot of times I'll get pulled in for different reasons. Like I'll get pulled in for someone outgrowing QuickBooks and they need some other accounting software.
Well, it's all back to planning and
Right.
education.
And a lot of times what it is it really comes down to nothing has changed when it comes to businesses, whether you start from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to now. We're still dealing with the same process. We're just doing it a little bit.
We've got to be a little faster,
Right.
a little more detailed.
Right.
So
Right.
well, most people don't think about it as much, but in the business world, quarterly taxes, all the things, I'm going to say your April 18th moves 4 times a year, and I appreciate you working with small business owners because it really is. Rich will tell you exactly, but it's 89.7% of all the business in America is done by small businesses, right, Rich?
The folks from the CPA, from the SBA, said it's in the upper 90%.
Upper 90% now.
Right.
Well, you continue to do exactly what you do, and Peter, if we wanted to get in touch with you, how are we going to do that?
You can visit my website at www.fullencpa.com. That's FULLENCPA.com, or you can email me at peter@fullencpa.com.
And that last thing, go ahead and give them that cell number that's connected to the cloud for you.
Okay, Rich, what is your number again?
Exactly. Yeah. Or social security number, credit card, whatever we're going to give out, Peter. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I just wanted to add is a lot of people. There's not many big gotcha changes on the tax code, but I just want to remind people if they know anyone with partnership tax returns, this is a big change this year. Partnership tax returns are due March 15th this year. So that's a big thing to let people know. The people who have those LLCs that are taxed as partnerships. They need to file a month earlier this year.
All right. So main thing is pay attention to your calendar, be at least 30 days in advance, and don't get caught with your taxes down. I mean, all right. Now, so we've gone through the process of getting your software right. We've gone through the process of getting your accounting right. We know that the BBA is going to be having meetings every week, 3 weeks of the month, and then the 4th week we're going to have a great after-hours function. We're going to have some annual lunches. But showing up, we appreciate you being a member of the past. I'm going to invite you to one Thursday morning very soon. So now let's move over to Josh Bernstein and figure out what the rest of this cloud kind of stuff does. So the cloud is that Internet of Things, the opportunities of direct AdWords and so forth. And we've got one of the experts a seasoned expert, matter of fact, on paid search marketing in our studios today. And we really want to get at understanding why it's important to look at keywords, to look at your presence, to look at what you put in front of people out there. And I think you're going to tell us a little bit about what really paying for search is worth. So, Josh, rock into telling us why in the world you are in this business.
Why am I that? I mean, we could be here for another 2 hours probably to discuss.
Well, you got a little less than 2 hours, and we'll keep on course. But give us the high notes.
So let's start with what is paid search marketing. It is something everybody probably encounters every day, and they don't really realize it. If you've used Google on your phone, your laptop, your personal computer, you see paid search marketing every day. And essentially, if you're a business, what it is, you're paying to be listed on Google search results. You are paying to be listed at the top of the page, essentially, and you're competing for a top 4 position in whenever you do a Google search result. So, and I'll give you an example of how it could work for a business. Example, because I'm in East Cobb, I live in Marietta.
Okay.
So let's say you're a plumber, and there are thousands of homes in East Cobb. Correct?
Yes, I know there are thousands of plumbers in East Cobb. Okay.
Well, no, thousands of homes in East Cobb.
Thousands of homes,
in East Cobb.
many plumbers, many electricians. How do I find them?
And I'm assuming a few of those a few of those homes are going to have some plumbing issues. Maybe at least 1 or 2 a week. in that, let's say, a 10-mile radius in East Cobb.
Sure, you're
Safe to
setting me
say-
up to call a shoemate. I know that. Okay, go
Well,
ahead.
we're not throwing names out here, but let's say, if you don't have a plumber in mind, let's say you have a water heater that went out
Okay.
the other day. You're going to go to Google and you're going to type in plumbers in East Cobb, plumbers in Marietta, plumbers in your zip code 30062, for example. So let's say, you're a plumber and you're ready to roll, but you're not being found because you're not doing paid search.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you're missing out on a lot of potential leads?
I know I'm missing out on a lot of potential leads. You're going to help me figure out how to get there, right?
Yes, I'll absolutely figure out how you or any small business can get there via, it's called the Google AdWords interface.
Okay.
And that's where I come in. I've been doing AdWords for over 10 years.
Wow.
I started on the agency side, and I've moved to a client side, then I moved to my own side for the last 5
So
years.
how do you begin to analyze getting that plumber to the top of the list in the 30062 zip code?
Was really not much analysis. It's basically, okay, let's get started with building your account. Okay, and the thing I'll ask you, okay, where are your services located? What is your service area if you're a plumber, per se? What kind of services do you do? Outside of, obviously you want to say you're a plumber, but what else do you want to focus on? Do you do water
Well,
heaters?
I really want to do water heaters at 5 a.m. in the morning. That's
Absolutely.
really my focus.
There's a lot of things to focus on. Do you want to be, are you an emergency repair type of guy? Like somebody says, I need a 24/7 on-call plumber, things like that.
But I have a very sexy, cool website, and it has great flash and great video and great. Gosh, it's got my name and my address and my phone number, my email, and my hours of operation. Why do I need paid search?
Because how are you going to get found by people who need you directly? This is the best thing about paid search, and this is why it's better than social media or anything else. It is a direct medium. It is a one-to-one medium. Let's say, Peter over here, he's a CPA. He wants more clients, and people with tax issues need somebody like Peter. If they go to Google and say, I need a CPA out in Marietta, Peter wants to be a part of that listing, supposedly. Now,
Well, Peter wants to be on top of that
he
listing.
wants
I
to be
know.
on top of that listing, but
He's got the big money.
But if I'm going to, looking for someone directly, that's why I use the AdWords.
Okay.
It's not, and it's different than, trying to go on the social media. You're not going to find someone on social media. You're not going to find somebody in a newspaper half the time. It is the most one-to-one direct
Okay, so
media.
we don't use Yellow Pages anymore. Peter
No.
wants to be on top of the list. Give me some idea. How much does it cost to be advertising AdWords, and what do I need to be thinking about in terms of my budget? Because Peter talked about building my business correctly. I could overspend on AdWords, couldn't I?
You can definitely overspend, and that's
Okay.
where you have to have a good professional, because there's two things about AdWords that people don't understand or don't realize.
Well, there's a lot of things I'm sure we don't understand. That's
first
why you're in
thing-
business. You're good at
The
it.
first thing is you control how much you spend.
Okay.
And you said, AdWords works on a daily budget.
Okay.
If you have, let's say you have $50 you're spending per day. If you get $50 worth of clicks, your ad stops showing the rest of the day. And the biggest thing I ask people is, how much is a click to your website worth to you?
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're going to get an automatic lead out of it. It doesn't mean you're going to get an automatic
So
long-term
you
customer.
help people evaluate. So the analytics become very important, and that's, I guess, one
Right.
of the services you provide to your
Oh,
clients.
absolutely, because, a long-term customer for one person is not going to have the same long-term value as another customer in their line of business. It can vary. Everybody varies.
Yeah. Rich, you look like you have
Yeah,
that puzzling look on you.
That I get that a lot, but yeah. But a quick question is, we're familiar. We've been talking about Google AdWords, but you
Right.
also mentioned you can do Facebook advertising and Twitter ads,
Correct.
and LinkedIn ads. You
Yes.
can kind of manage.
I do a little bit of a social media. I'm trying to get more into social media advertising, which is more. And social media advertising works more of it. It's like display advertising. You're really looking to capture somebody within a defined audience.
Yeah.
It's like throwing a big net out there and hoping somebody hits. Sort of like direct mail. You're going to throw thousands of postcards within some zip codes, and you may hit, but you may not. And that's why AdWords is so different.
And is
than
one of the
anything else.
KPIs Alexa rankings in terms of their website traffic, or is that one of the tools you use?
No,
and I'm
I
not talking about the Echo Alexa. I'm talking about you have for radio. There's you have Arbitron, you have Nielsen ratings, and then for websites, it's Alexa.
Because AdWords doesn't really have anything to do with website traffic rankings.
Oh, okay.
It's an advertising piece. It's
Okay.
essentially, what are you who are you looking to pull in from Google? Because everybody's on their phones every day. Everybody's on Google.
Right.
How can you best connect to somebody looking for your services? And that's where the keywords come in. And how do you want to project yourself to them? And that's where the ad copy comes in as well, which I handle and write as well.
Well, let's walk through an application. We talked about a business owner a minute ago. you have to go through an analysis. You have to ask them a series of questions. You have to do what we all do as sales guys to some degree. We've got to come back with a proposal that makes sense. We got to balance the budget. Take me from day 1 to day 30. Is it a 10-day process, 5-day process?
It is a process as quick as you want to go.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's different. Like, if you have one line of business and you advertise only one type of product,
all right,
we can get you turned around pretty quickly. Now,
so starting today is important. So, Josh,
starting today,
we may need to have Josh back again or whatever. Yeah,
wow,
there's a lot of content to cover here.
There's no. Yeah, we're going to have to get you back and talk about that results of the process. So, Josh, in the meanwhile, if they want to contact you and get started on their AdWords today,
go to jdbmedia.com and you can email me direct at joshbernsteinmedia@gmail.com.
And Josh, it's been a pleasure to have you in the office today, in our overlooking Buckhead here. Uday, it's been great to understand what training and opportunities are. Again, and Peter, we're definitely looking at April 15th, March 15th,
April
18th.
He gave us an extra 3 days.
That's
Does the
right.
government know about this?
What about March, though? We still use March 15th for those LLCs. Get your stuff done. Don't wait to the 18th or the 15th. Go ahead and get it done by the 1st of the month.
S-Corps and partnerships of March 15th.
So, guys, we've had a great session today. You've been listening to us on the Pro Business Channel, co-hosted by Rich and Mike, and also sponsored by the Buckhead Business Association. It has been a pleasure to be with you, and we will see you again back next week, same time, same station, same place.
Thank you for joining us and our guests on the Pro Business Channel. Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association.